Yañez, and she'll be talking about an Australian spider, an Australian tarantula. Turn over to the floor.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm going to start introducing myself. My name is, as they said, Yañez. I've been working in tarantulas around 20 years. I started working in Mexico. So now I'm going to talk to you about the ecology and natural history of an Australian tarantula. I was been working in Mexico with the genus Brachypelma, which is the only genus in the whole world that, protected by CITES, the Commission International of Trade of Endangered Species. I've been working there. I did a project about a natural history there. I worked there 3 years with Brachypelma classic, and in that period of time, with these 3 years, I just found 115 tarantulas. So you can work really hard and find a very little number of individuals. And then I came to Australia with 300 tarantulas from Mexico, and to continue my studies here, we have to put it in quarantine and follow up all the spiderlings that I brought from there. Now I'm working with a Selenotypus new species. This tarantula is their habitat is in north part of Queensland. In particular, I'm doing this study at Rockhampton. There is they characterize for the brown color. They can go from a light brown color. This tarantula, compared to the Brachypelmas that I used to work in Mexico, they are kind of a bit aggressive. They are not a nice tarantula like in Mexico. You can take them out to the burrow. I used to take them out, put it in my shoulder, and be able to measure the burrow, take all the samples that I needed. Whether with this one, no way. You have to be very careful. As soon as it comes out, it stands up, and you can see a drop of venom in the fangs. So it's like, okay, you stay there. Anyway, you can see here is a spiderling, then is in an adult stage of it as a female, and then it's a male. Now, in Mexico, I knew how the burrows were, so it was easy. I knew, etc. But now here comes Australia. I'm never doing any sampling here. So if you think about, you see that area, the green part, the last slide, it shows the area I was sampling here in Rockhampton. So my question was, okay, how is the characteristics about this burrow? Why are we doing natural history? Well, to protect individuals of this genus, first we need to know where do they live? How is their house? How is their burrow? How they put the silk? How they prefer putting it on the logs? What are the characteristics? Well, in a way it was good that I didn't know how to sample tarantulas here. So I had to be with a different frame of mind. So it was, I realized that the type of, they have a very, very defined circle in the burrows. As well, then a lot of silk on them. So then I started, every time I saw a burrow like that, or a hole like that, I started putting marks. But then you start asking the question, is that really a burrow? What if it's another type of spider, or it could be another spider. So then you put the endoscope, which is the first picture, and then you see the legs of the spider. I have to tell you, it's so exciting that you say, yes, I got it. It is really a burrow. So in the first trip, I got like 55 burrows to start my study. Normally in Mexico, the tarantula cleans the burrow and takes the prey items out. They wrapped it with silk, and then you can collect it. I used to collect them and take it to the lab and then see what is inside. Like you can find a wing of a beetle or the leg of the cricket, etc. With this one, surprise, nothing. Couldn't find anything. But in the meantime, we collect data of temperature, humidity, etc. Anyway, unfortunately, 2 weeks after I was doing my survey, it was a fire. All the area got a big fire. So obviously you get worried, okay, after all the work, let's see what happens. You can see now the area, all the trees, all was ashes. I was able to find some, the first slide you can see that still some flagging, some marks that survive. All the part where this, let me see, I better not use this. All the part in each side, there was my burrows, including the middle area. So not just my, they got burned, but then the tractor passed and cleaned the area. So it was, yeah, they sent me the photos when I was in Brisbane, and they said, look, sorry to tell you, but this is the burrows that you marked. Anyway, I went back in February after 2 months or 3, and so yeah, that's how they were, all in ashes, but they were very resilient. Obviously, because they go in, the burrows can be 1 meter, and they can go that way and then this way, like that's the structure. Yeah, so, and the temperature when you go deeper decrease. So, and some tarantulas, they can get a shell and they blocked the hole for protection. So many of the tarantulas survived. The majority were females, they are adults. Then, on May, you can see that the area started doing regeneration. You start seeing some green areas, which it was great. And the interesting part, was that in that stage, I found a lot of spiderlings. So you could see that the area started getting new spiderlings, a new population. So that was really good. And the females were there. Some of my flaggings, because I put markings like wood in the soil, and then the flagging. So it was one or the other that I was able to identify my population. Now this is the burrows of May. So remember the first burrows I showed you, that they were having silk, a lot of silk. Well, in this time now, no silk whatsoever. So probably in the previous one, it was the females getting ready for the reproduction session, the reproductive time. Why? Because the silk has pheromones, and that actually attracts the male towards the female. It's like saying, hello, I'm here, and telling the male, I'm ready to mate. Whether now, in May, it is really no silk. It's very hard to see the burrows with silk. Now, in October, which I just went recently, it was no silk whatsoever in many of them. Can you see now how the vegetation is changing? It's also a big drought. The trees hardly have some leaves. Actually, for me, it was very hard to work because it was no shade. And it was very, the temperature was very high, and also you could still see a lot of ashes in the area. And the temperature was around 40 degrees, and I have to say, every time, whenever you stand up, I could feel the heat coming from my feet, the salt to my feet. So I don't know how they survive these tarantulas. You could not find anything like crickets or any other animal around. In saying that too, tarantulas, they can survive without eating for 3 months or something like that. Anyway, to make the comment that every time I put in these years, and this year, pitfall traps, I got nothing. The only thing I got was ants and probably 3 or 2 crickets. So, because it's been very, very dry, really nothing is moving. it's important for me to also mention that normally once a year you have the males change the mold and wander to seek for the female. Well, this year we have nothing. No males, no nothing, which is very strange, which brings me to the question whether if somehow the tarantula intrinsically say, okay, this is not the time for me to molt, maybe next year or something like that, because we didn't have any males wandering. Not just at the time that I was just doing my studies, but I also asked all people that are around, that live there, if they have seen any males wandering in the area or in the highway, etc., and no one did. So that's something that it needs more studies, maybe next year, if we get more grants, to really observe this type of behavior. Then in this time, something that it was interesting, I found a lot of juveniles. Now, juveniles move their burrows around 2 to 3 times a year because they have to find the suitable place until they put the burrow forever. So yeah, I found a lot of juveniles in this time. And then also, very interesting example, that they have to put, they have a lot of silk. Okay, we're going faster now. Okay, in this one, you can see that there are some ants around it. I never see that phenomenon in any of my tarantulas in Mexico. So, and these ants, they don't get stuck in the silk. You can see now that one of them, they have a green thing, and they take it, they clean in the prey items. That's why I haven't seen any prey items in them. So what I did too, I took the legs of 2 species of ants, and with the tarsal, we do the tarsal claw, we put in the scanning electro microscope, and we found that the tarsa is hollow. That's probably of the ant that you just saw. That's probably why it's not getting stuck in the silk. As soon as, for example, I perturb the burrow, these ants coming. So it must be it's a relationship that are a benefit for the 2 of them. The ants eat all the prey items, and it might give it some protection to the tarantula. Okay. The other thing I'm doing in this project is, because we want to define the habitat, I'm doing with a camera to check taking photos to see the canopy, to see if the type of radiation and the sun, quantity of sun comes to the burrow, to check if the shade of sunlight is important for where do they put their burrows. Now, the other thing I have done is to get the structure of the burrow. So I have a female that is 48 centimeters and a juvenile that is 20 centimeters. By the way, it took me 4 hours to dig the first burrow. Now, the other thing I did is put sensor cameras to see the activity of the tarantulas. This activity was mainly from 7 o'clock to 4 a.m. And I did this because normally I was sitting there to see what they were doing. I hope you can see the pictures where they are, and in that one you can see how the tarantula was catching a cricket. Now, this is my population, 404 in an area of 200 by 90 tarantulas, square meters. So now what do we do? Now, I did some analysis with the program MARC, is capture and recapture, and the population is going down. But the benefit that we have is that the females have the highest survival. Even though that many other stages are going down, the survival of the females is high. So that actually can help us to protect the tarantulas. Now, the population of Selenotypus is made of 97 spiderlets and very few adult females. There is a large mortality at all stages except adult females. Therefore, adult females are the most important contributor to the population reproduction. And they have a reproduction value of 1,000 for spiderlets. So collectors should not be catching females. Okay, the key problem is to define their habitat requirements and breed them in captivity. Tell people that many of the tarantulas they sell in the pet trade is mainly that they are taken in from the wild. So please don't buy tarantulas, spread the information, and just say that they are beautiful. Thank you very much.